But first up, here is an exclusive tour of a place that has been the talk of Queen Anne for decades, mostly because of its colorful outside. But right now, St. Brian is going to give us a tour of the inside of this very unusual home. St.?
That's right. Brian Coleman, the owner of this house, certainly believes you can never have too much of a good thing. Now, pay close attention to this story because there will be a quiz afterwards.
Most people think about, sustainable type of gardening. This isn't it.
You'll find gardener Riz Reyes here even on his days off.
It's definitely a high-maintenance garden.
It's a work of art. But then, so is the house, a celebrated polychromatic Victorian owned by psychiatrist Brian Coleman.
Well, I've lived here 25 years.
Brian was the first client that I've ever had that says, we need more, we need a bigger, more flowers, buy. And it's like, really?
When I bought the house, it was all covered in white vinyl siding with black trim, and none of this was here. There was a holly tree in the yard and bits of broken glass, and that was about it. And we added the turret to the house and then painted the house in kind of a fall palette of deep, rich greens, gold, burgundy, and blacks. And then we try to choose foliage that coordinates with them, with the rich golds and burgundy, purple.
Anyone can walk by this house. We've been promised something more.
Why don't you come on in, Saint, and I'll show you the inside.
The inside. I bet that's something else.
Something else, indeed.
During the 19th century and the Victorian era, people liked to show their education and their good taste, and they showed it through their objects.
There are plenty of objects. So many you don't know where to look, or sit, or look, or sit.
And what is it like for you to live in this house? Do you ever feel like there's too much here?
When my mom comes here, she said, this place, is a museum. How do you live here? And I often get that from people. But, for me, I do it because it's fun to collect things and to learn about different objects.
Like this 19th century ancestor to the CD player.
This is a symphonium, and they would play metal discs. They have a really nice sound to them. The thing I like about the Victorian era is that its sense of whimsy. Things were just so kind of fun. See, Saint, put your foot on his head and press down. See, that's a man's cuspidor.
And that's where my chewing tobacco would go.
Well, there you go.
That's where I would just spit right into that.
Right, and hopefully you'd have good aim. The peacocks were a symbol of good luck and good fortune. Those are called swingers, and they're little bits, figures that would hang from chandeliers.
Brian has turned his love of all things old into a second career. He's the author of more than a dozen books on the descriptive arts.
All right, I like to quiz people on these tours. Now, who do you think made those?
The mourning children of the mother who died in childbirth.
Any other guesses?
I give up.
Actually, they were made by sailors. They'd give these to their sweetheart.
And the surprises keep coming.
Well, this is the Turkish room. Turkish parlors were very popular in the late 19th century. We did an ornate pattern on the ceiling, and I had a frieze hand-painted in Turkish. There used to be a closet on the far end, so we took that out and did an archway over here with a little Turkish corner where you can kind of sit and have your Turkish coffee or read.
And on the other side of the room, the pièce de résistance, a Turkish turret.
It's not always the most practical thing, but that's okay for me.
If you're looking for an explanation for all this, it's been right in front of your eyes the whole time.
Yeah, I had a Latin inscription carved around the outside of the turret that says, Quo amplius eo amplius, which roughly means the more the better.
And in this case, we couldn't agree more.